Hello. I just beat Diddy Kong Racing for the first time in like 20 years, and now I'm gonna talk about it. When this masterpiece released in 1997, I was just excited to have another game like Mario Kart. But what I found was a much more adventurous experience. The game takes place on Timber the Tiger's island home, which is known for its famous race courses spanning dinosaur-filled canyons, water levels, frozen water levels, and spooky forests. Pretty diverse set of locales for an island in the middle of the ocean. The single player experience is nearly flawless. The game starts with 4 zones that you progress through with 4 tracks each, that you race with different vehicles, which is one of the things that sets Diddy Kong Racing apart from Mario Kart. Some of them use a cart, some use a plane, and some use the Florida special, the hovercraft, or the bumper boat as I call it. I'll talk about that later. But first, let me set the stage. This is an adventure game after all, so let me give a quick lore dump here. So the lore of the game is very simple. It's just a few paragraphs in the game booklet, and that's really all there is. But basically, an evil intergalactic wizard pig from outer space named Wizpig invades Timber the Tiger's island home while his parents are away on vacation. Wizpig uses his pig space magic on the island's 4 guardians to turn them to his side, sealed away the beloved race courses, and banished the elephant genie Taj. In an effort to get rid of Wizpig, Drumstick, the best racer on the island, in the lore anyway, goes to challenge him to an honorable race and mysteriously disappears. He will later resurface as an unlockable racer with S-tier sound effects. So Timber writes a letter to Diddy Kong, who was apparently so bored with life that he was actually excited while reading over poor Timber's troubles. Finally, some action after Donkey Kong 2. He then recruits his friends Conker, yes, that Conker, and Banjo, yes, that Banjo, to come assist him in the fight against Wizpig. On their way out, they are followed by a Kremling named Crunch, who is suspicious of Diddy's band of animals, worrying that he is amassing a militia to come back and fight the Kremlings or something. And later he just decides to race, I guess? I don't know. Also, Crunch is notorious for being the worst racer in the game, but more on that later. Then, according to the booklet, Pipsy the Mouse has a run-in with the mysterious genie Taj, who apparently hasn't been seen in 50 years. Taj tells Pipsy that he is looking for a champion racer to go after the evil space pig, spoil his fun, and hopefully drive him off planet once and for all. So Pipsy, Timber, Bumper the Badger, and Tip Top the Turtle team up with Diddy, Conker, Banjo, and Crunch, I guess, to answer the call and reclaim the island from Wizpig's porky clutches before Timber's parents get back home. When starting a brand new adventure mode, there are 8 racers available to choose from, and 2 you can unlock later through gameplay. The starting racers are Crunch, Diddy Kong, Bumper, Banjo, Conker, Tip Top, Pipsy, and Timber, and the unlockable racers are Drumstick the Rooster and TT the Stopwatch, who is an absolute racing god. I love the character select screen here so much. There's just so much happy energy. And every character you hover over changes the theme music slightly to match who you have selected, which I thought was a nice little touch. Each of the racers have unique stats, and you can have success with any of them, but some are objectively easier and more effective across multiple types of tracks than others. For example, Tip Top, Pipsy, and Diddy are so much easier to control than the others that going from Crunch to Tip Top, for example, feels like an actual cheat code. Crunch's handling is so bad, especially for a new player, that it often feels less like you are turning him and more like the entire game world is shifting underneath you, like you're trying to drive through a fucking earthquake or something. So his handling and acceleration are truly bad, but he does have a max level top speed. So if you can get used to drifting with him and abuse the top speed button mashing hack, then he's great for tracks with longer straight stretches, or for defeating bosses like Bluey the Walrus and his mostly downhill course, for example. So he isn't useless by any means. Also, his horn makes a funny sound, which pretty much offsets his other not so great qualities. Anyway, Tip Top is my favorite, so I'm going to start with him. Starting the game, we are treated to an ominous cutscene showing a likeness of Wizpig that has been carved into the cliffside. Truly an unsettling sight, but at least he left the rainbows alone. Then we are introduced to Taj, the elephant-like genie who flies in with so much style and fanfare that it makes me wish he was a playable character, which he is in the 2007 DS remake. And according to this random wiki I found, there is an unused music track for Taj that suggests he was intended to be a playable character at some point. Taj tells you that he is here to help, and the cutscene is over. Once you have full control of your character, you are facing directly towards your first zone. So I go up the ramp, get the first balloon, and get ready to experience Dino Domain. So the basic gameplay loop goes like this. Each zone and racetrack requires a certain amount of magic golden balloons to unlock. You get these from Taj the Genie every time you win a race, and he presents them to you with extreme enthusiasm. Once you win all of the races, you unlock a special 1 vs 1 boss race against the guardian of that zone. For Dino Domain, this is Tricky the Triceratops. Defeat the boss once, and you get presented with a new challenge. Repeat all of the races, but this time, collect sometimes very inconveniently located silver coins, and still win the race. Do this for all 4 tracks, and it's time to challenge the boss again. Except this time they are much faster and the tracks have way more hazardous obstacles. Once the boss is defeated again, 2 things happen. For one, you are awarded a piece of the Wizpig amulet. You need 4 of these to complete the amulet and unlock the ability to race Wizpig near the end of the game. And 2, you can now compete in the trophy challenge for that zone, which is a gauntlet of all 4 races back to back. Getting first place here is important because it's required to unlock a secret zone later in the game. Each zone also features an unlockable battle mode. Getting access to these requires finding a key that is hidden, or not so hidden, on one of the 4 racetracks. Winning each of these games gives you a piece of the TT amulet, which is required to unlock the final boss race of the game. Just like in Mario Kart, there are power-ups on each track that can help you out along the way. For example, collecting bananas will increase your speed up to 10, but you should collect as many as possible to keep your opponents from getting them. There are also little zippers placed around the track that will boost you forward a good amount, even further if you let go of the gas right before hitting it. This is crucial during certain boss races and time trials. Each race also has balloons of distinct colors that give you various power-ups, and if you collect a multiple of the same balloon type in a row, it will upgrade that specific ability to something more powerful. Though I have found using them nearly straight away is usually the best choice. This can be tricky because touching a balloon of a different color will negate whatever you currently have stored and replace it with another power-up. The red balloons give you a missile to shoot, 2 balloons upgrade it to a homing missile, which I think is the best, and 3 red balloons gives you 10 regular missiles. The blue balloons give you a speed boost, and the trick with the zipper works the same way with these power-ups. Just let go of the gas briefly before you use it to get some extra speed. More balloons equals bigger speed boost. The green balloons are for disrupting your opponents. One will leave an oil spill that will cause someone to briefly spin out. If you're in a plane, you will instead fart a ball of gas into the air that does the same thing. 2 balloons will drop a spiked mine. Even in a plane, the mine will stay suspended in the air and it looks really funny. And 3 will leave a bubble that traps you for a few seconds and is particularly devastating. The yellow balloons with purple stars give you a shield that protects you from attacks as well as spins out anyone you come into contact with. 1 gives you 4 seconds, 2 gives you 11 seconds, and 3 gives you about 15 seconds. And finally, there are the rainbow colored balloons, which gives you the power of a magnet pulling you towards the opponent in front of you. 2 of these gives you the same power but a higher range, and 3 balloons will pull an opponent back towards you. Overall, the powers are pretty fun, but I will admit there's nothing quite like the thrill of randomness you get from the Mario Kart cubes. Just hoping for that one power that will save the race. The power-ups in Diddy Kong Racing are more about memorizing where they are and using that information to decide how you're going to tackle the track. Learning how to drift properly will also help you out immensely, especially if you go with the heavier racers like Banjo, Drumstick, or God forbid Crunch. This will offset some of their inability to turn, and it also makes maneuvering the plane much easier, which is also the skill you're going to need for the final boss race. There's also a sort of speed hack in the game where once you reach a character's top speed, you can mash the gas button repeatedly to go a bit over the max. This will really help you out with boss races and time trials against TT. In my playthrough, I decided to start off with Tip Tup as my racer as he provides a comfy racing style and is very easy to pick up after a long time away. But as you can see, I was a little rusty and missed picking up the key for the battle mode level twice. After finishing 3 of the races, I noticed I was 1 balloon short to unlock the next track. I remembered that there were hidden balloons scattered around the island, but what I forgot was that you can honk at Taj and he will change your vehicle for you to a hovercraft or a plane. So I ended up driving my fucking cart out into the ocean to grab the only balloon I thought I could reach at the time. But if you do this, just get a hovercraft or even take a plane somewhere to this, maybe to the snow level, because it actually only requires 2 balloons to unlock. Another fun thing about Taj, if you stay around him for a while, he'll start singing to himself about beer. I haven't touched on the music yet, but the title track is an all-time classic that is guaranteed to be stuck in your head for days. And this track for the first plane level is an absolute banger. After all of this, it was time for round 1 against Zone Boss Tricky the Triceratops. This caught me by surprise, but the zone bosses are actually quite supportive and encouraging, even when you lose.
Well done, kid. Now I challenge you to a race.
I didn't remember that. I sat idling at the starting line, trying desperately not to think of Junji Ito's Uzumaki, and how these spiral patterns keep appearing ever since I read that accursed manga. And then I snap out of it as Tricky takes off before the race starts like a cheating bastard, and then I remember why I hated these guys. I hit him with 2 rockets, and then a giant boulder helps me out by slamming into him. Then it was an easy cruise up the mountain until I used a boost and somehow didn't go flying off the side. I survive one more near blunder at the top, and that's it. Tricky congratulates me and then tells me about the silver coin challenge. Then Taj appears with some helpful advice on drifting before I think, wait, one-shotting a boss? Is this right? Tip-Tup is a god, and he's making the game too easy, I thought. So after one-shotting the first 3 coin challenges, I decided to try something truly stupid and play the game as Crunch. And oh my Mary Mother of God. It's like trying to race after cutting off your own thumbs. As soon as I entered the game, Taj challenges me to a race. No warm-up or anything. I immediately have trouble with his lack of traction. It honestly feels like he doesn't have a steering wheel. It is so bizarre. But I still managed to beat Taj, who gives me a balloon for my troubles. Luckily, the AI for these early levels is not good. I managed to win as Crunch, but it was not pretty. I missed multiple bananas and coins on my first lap, and honestly, I was afraid to use my boosts for fear of losing control of the plane. Then it was time to challenge Tricky once more. The second time around, he's way faster, there are more obstacles like falling logs and extra boulders. Oh yeah, and also I'm using the worst racer in maybe the history of racing games. For attempt 1, I immediately get run over by Tricky. Then I get squashed by a log. Then another log. Halfway up the mountain, he's so far ahead of me that my homing missile can't even find him. On the second attempt, I try a shortcut that fails miserably. Taking the character with the worst acceleration in the game straight up a mountain is certainly one of the strategies ever made. Anything you hit stops you dead in your tracks. Nevertheless, I push through, questioning my sanity with each failed attempt, until finally, after 20 attempts, I triumph. Ricky awards me the first piece of the Whizpig amulet, and tells me to try the trophy challenge. And man, this guy sucks! I lose my first race of the playthrough in truly embarrassing fashion. At this point, I was staring down the barrel of a 100-hour playthrough, so in true gamer fashion, I gave up, restarted the game, and went back to my old faithful in Tip-Tup. I am so sorry that I turned my back on you. I am immediately challenged to a hovercraft race by Taj, who gets bodied so badly that he leaves my balloon too high in the air for me to reach. What a jackass. After a quick trip around the island to pick up the other hidden balloons, it's time for the next zone, and a conservative's worst nightmare, Snowflake Mountain, where it is Christmas year-round. I can immediately feel the step up in track difficulty and AI here, but Tip Tup still powers me through pretty easily. Also, this is my favorite jump in the game probably. The boss for this zone is a very dapper looking Bluey the Walrus.
Well done. Now I challenge you to a race.
Whose first course is just straight downhill, basically with very few obstacles. He gets one shot. The silver coin challenge in this zone is a bit more challenging because most courses require you to take different routes on multiple laps in order to get all of the coins. You also have to be on point with your boosts and power-ups because the AI tries noticeably harder this time around. I actually had a little trouble on Snowball Valley because of this. It took me multiple tries because Bumper decided to turn into Prime Dale Earnhardt on this course. RIP number 3, never forgotten. And then I get to the Walrus's second challenge, and the game humbles me. I'm in a motorized vehicle going downhill, and this dude absolutely smokes me while dragging his nuts across the ground. My first real chance came here. I had 10 rockets and missed every single fucking one of them. Very embarrassing, but Bluey was pretty cool about it though.
Oh, never mind, kid. You can come back whenever you're ready.
Following a brutal loss, I was able to clutch it up and come through with a victory in a mere 25 attempts. Hold your applause until the end of the video, please. I decided to skip getting the hidden key in this zone for now and instead opted to continue on with the races. I exit the zone and Taj approaches me for his final racing challenge, airplanes. Don't let the other two challenges fool you. Taj is an absolute menace on the carpet. The sky belongs to him. Also, anytime you hit something in the plane, it knocks you backwards a little, as well as slows you down. But Tip Tup still takes the race. I take my balloon and head to my favorite zone, Sherbet Island. One of the reasons I love the hovercraft so much is because it reminds me of this local attraction I went to as a child during the summer. Do you remember bumper cars? Well, this place was called Bumper Boats. It had a huge pool where you could drive these things around for like 15 minutes and just ram them into each other. So when I got Diddy Kong Racing, I was like, oh shit, they have bumper boats? Hell yeah, brother. Pirate Lagoon, best music in the game. I think the song is shared with a few other tracks, but I can't remember which ones. It's what we used to call a certified banger. I really love these last two courses. I dig the pirate theme, it makes me think of the Goonies. I think back in the day this octopus gave me more trouble than any of the other bosses.
Well done. Now I challenge you to a race.
He uses mines and bubbles as his obstacles, and they are ruthlessly punishing. And I think his mines may be bigger than the usual ones. I have a theory that the hovercraft goes faster on land, but I don't actually have any proof. Also, his laugh reminds me of Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory. Anyway, it takes me 2 tries to beat the first challenge, and then it was time for the silver coins. I had a little bit of trouble with the first and third races here, mostly because I was enjoying the scenery too much. And I think the music was turning my eyes red and making me unusually hungry. So I took a break and had a snack. And then I came back, beat Bumper's ass, and finished up the rest of the silver coin races. Coin races, not corn. Crescent Island is one of the first tracks to have really sharp turns. That includes this shortcut here at the end. So this is where you start to see drifting and being like rewarded for drifting come into play more. And it will only get more important here on out. I had an all-time clutch performance here. Look how far behind I am with 1 lap to go. Easy game, easy life. Having proven my worth, it was now time for a rematch with Bubbler the Octopus. I thought this was going to take me like 50 attempts, but even after hitting a few bubbles, I was able to one-shot this guy. I took the lead near the end of lap 2 and never gave it up. Could not believe it. I shot off a few rockets to celebrate like a drunk American on the 4th of July, or my neighbor on a Tuesday at noon, and then it was time for the trophy challenge. The Whizpig amulet was nearly complete. Okay, never mind. I guess I forgot to do the trophy challenge, and went to the next zone instead. I decided to try out Pipsy, one of the most used racers because of how good her traction and acceleration are. Sherwood Forest does have the most fun courses, I think, now that I'm playing through them again. Boulder Canyon combines two of my favorite things from childhood: bumper boats and being on the river. If you had a theme park nearby that had a log ride or a lazy river or the huge river rafting rides like they have at Six Flags, that's the energy I get from Boulder Canyon. It is so cozy here. There's also a key hidden very well on this level that I will be getting later. Pipsy rocks, by the way. A few gold balloons later, and it's time for the boss challenge against Smokey the Dragon. His accent sounds like a really bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation.
Excellent. Now I challenge you to a race.
According to this wiki, the accent is known as the Northern Irish accent. Can anyone confirm this for me? Is this how y'all talk up there? This is my favorite boss because he's a dragon and he breathes fire. And we start off attempt number 1 by flying into the only possible obstacle we can hit. But Pipsy goes out there like Jordan in Game 6 and puts Smokey away with one shot. That was a 90s basketball reference. I swear if you listen to this guy closely, you can hear him start laughing whenever he says win.
Now try my new challenge. Collect all the silver coins from my world. Find 8 from each level and win. Then come back and see me.
The voice credit I found belongs to someone named Johnny Christensen, who also did the voice for Tip Top, and it says he's only credited as an actor in Diddy Kong Racing, and that he also worked in the art department. So that's pretty cool. In fact, I looked up the voice credits for the rest of the Guardians, and it turns out all of them worked on the game in some way. So like Kevin Bayless here, who was credited for voicing Bubbler the Octopus, he's also credited as a 3D artist and an animator. So that's pretty sweet that some of these people had like multiple responsibilities. I guess maybe that was more common for older games with smaller studios, like Chris Metzen also doing a lot of voice work for like early Blizzard titles. Anyway, now it was time for the Silver Coin Challenge. After breezing through Windmill Plains, it was time for the game to get serious. The Greenwood Village Silver Coin Challenge. This course has it all. Extremely inconvenient coin locations, hard to reach bananas, tight corners with unforgiving turn windows, hard to reach zippers, and the AI has turned Crunch into a god. Look at the separation here. Anyway, it took me 3 tries, which is more than any other track. I one-shot Boulder Canyon, and then it was time for round 2 versus Arnold the Dragon. See? It's hard.
If you can beat me again, I'll give you a special prize.
You can hear how much effort Smokey is putting into this one. He is huffing. I remember having a lot of trouble with this as a kid, but it really wasn't too bad this time. It took 2 tries, and that's the last of the Island Guardians down. The Whizpig Amulet is complete. The next cutscene scared the bejesus out of me as a youngin'. Followed by one of the greatest villain intros I have ever seen.
You can't beat me.
The voice! That is exactly how I imagine an evil wizard pig from outer space would sound. The music, the lightning. And now Pipsy, whose home was taken away from her due to the machinations of this maniacal madman, was going to get her shot at taking him down. The course is brutal, but fair. There are 15 zippers total, and you need to hit about 14 of them in the right direction with the green boost. Whizpig is ridiculously fast. If you can get in front of him, sometimes he'll run you over, other times he will kick you forward. But he usually steps on you. But I missed one too many boosts with Pipsy, and then I decided to give Timber a shot at the pig. It is his island, after all. Trouble is, I've never once in my life raced as Timber. And I'll be real, he's basically a shittier version of Diddy Kong. But god damn it, we are in this thing for the narrative, so here we are. Funny story about this race. I also played this game a lot with my mom. we were stuck on this boss, and when she came to pick me up from school that day, she told me how she had spent nearly all day trying to beat him. And she did not get many days off of work. Okay, so this is how important this was. I was in 2nd grade, I think. So she told me if I beat him that night, she would take me to this, like, indoor playground facility that was, like, 50 miles away. And that was all the incentive that I needed. It took forever, but I think I ended up beating him with Diddy Kong. One of my favorite childhood memories. Thanks, Mom. It took me 24 tries and nearly an hour of racing to beat Wizpig this time around, though. This loss right here was so painful that I had to take a break for a while. I got ahead, put one fucking wheel on the grass, and it was over. So I took a break. I came back after a big sandwich and managed to defeat him. As you can see, Wizpig throws a fit here. I believe it was Socrates Aurelius Aristotle who once said, "Be humble in victory and gracious in defeat." Wizpig is not gracious in defeat. A bully can never be gracious. But you, the gamer, have been gracious. You have been humbled. You consider your mistakes, plan your next move, dominate, and emerge a champion. Anyway, Taj and TT decide to throw a party. Look at Crunch, man. He got out of that bad place he was in and found a group of positive folks to be around who can steer him in the right direction. Tip Top is so faded he has no idea what to do. He runs in a circle and then disappears into the ocean. He's probably good. And wouldn't you know it,
Sorry to break the party, worms, but I had to say goodbye.
I can't express how much I love this deep south accent they went for with Wizpig. Like Foghorn Leghorn. And things turned rather violent pretty quickly. Wizpig calls down a spaceship, shoots freaking lasers at these poor primitive creatures, which definitely violates the Prime Directive, then blasts off into space, and the credits roll. You also get a magic code in the credits every time you beat Wizpig, but you can also just find these online. To get to the last secret racing zone of the game and to unlock Drumstick, you must come in first place in all the trophy challenges. And this really isn't too difficult since you don't have to collect coins or anything special. So I go around really quick and get all that done so I can hurry to the next area. After this, a very peculiar frog will appear in the central hub area with a distinguishing rooster tail. It also clucks like a chicken. Very peculiar, but you know what they say. If it quacks like a frog and hops like a duck, it's probably your buddy Drumstick. Simply run over him with your cart or chop him up with your plane propeller to unlock him as a racer. The frog dies, but the chicken rise. Wow. Unlocking a new character with in-game achievements. What a concept. This chicken would be like $20 or level 100 of a battle pass these days. Once you get first place in all the zones, you go to the board out by the lighthouse and run into it. I found this completely by accident as a child, by the way. I was just out here doing donuts in my bumper boat, and boom, rocket ship. Wizpig is on the run, and it's time to take the fight to him. The rocket takes you to Future Funland, which is Wizpig's home planet, and has some of the most fun tracks in the whole game. I know I've said that a lot. I fucking love this game. I decided to tackle these last few races with Conker since he hasn't been featured much yet. He's so happy when you select him. The aesthetic of Future Funland is insane. We've gone from prehistoric dinosaurs blocking the road to alien ships firing lasers at us and dodging bolts of electricity. I think things are going great until I hit a wall and then barrel roll into another wall. The difficulty here has noticeably increased, and learning how to drift properly is vital, especially for the coin races in Dark Moon Caverns and Star City. This section of Spaceport Alpha is straight out of A New Hope. Star City has some really tight turns, and I still haven't gotten used to this zipper here. Once all of the races are complete, it's time for, you guessed it, another Silver Coin Challenge. No boss race in between this time though. Honestly, I didn't have much trouble with the coin challenge here at all. I'm actually considering turning on the magic code that makes the AI better, just to see how much better they are at later levels, but I'll probably test that out later. And then, it was time for the final boss. But there's one problem. I can't get in the door because I still need all the pieces of the TT amulet. Remember earlier when I mentioned having to find hidden keys to unlock special battle modes? Those challenges are where you get the TT amulet pieces from. I already have the first key, which is the most obvious and only took me 3 tries to get. The battle mode game from Dino Domain is an aerial challenge where you're tasked with picking up dinosaur eggs from the center of the level and then dropping them off back at your own base to hatch. This takes about 10 seconds. Hatch 3 eggs and you're a winner. But the catch is that before the eggs hatch, they can be stolen by other players. And also, eggs will continuously spawn in the middle. So keep an eye out for who has how many eggs and who is the closest to victory. It actually took me 2 tries to do this because they ganged up on me and cheated. And they're losers, and fuck them and fuck you if you think I'm bad. Back at Snowflake Mountain, we pick up the hidden key, which is right at the beginning of Snowball Valley. The Icicle Pyramid seems to be the community's consensus favorite battle mode. It's a multi-leveled battle arena that is last man standing. There's no shortage of chaotic fun to be had here, with plenty of red and green balloons to destroy your opponents with. Will you lurk at the bottom, or fly down from the top floors, catching your foes unaware? The key for Sherbet Island is a little off the track here at the beginning of Crescent Island. Darkwater Beach was actually my favorite game to play against friends. We would all turn off our maps and lurk around the map with missiles waiting for someone to shoot. And it reminded me of bumper boats, which I've probably mentioned once or twice already. I may go out and buy one of the damn things when my tax refund comes in, you know what I'm talking about. Although this does bring up an old memory of my buddy Jimmy, who would just get 10 rockets and then sit under the rocks here and wait for someone to come by. And he won a lot, so if you're watching this, fuck you, Jimmy. The hidden key in Sherwood Forest is on Boulder Canyon, and it is hidden very well. You have to hit this bell, then turn around and go up the drawbridge, and you can find it sitting up here on the parapet. I'm glad they didn't make you also have to win the races for these, but I will admit, the game mode for this level, Smoky Castle, kinda sucks ass. You just collect bananas and drive them back to your chest, and you can only carry 2 at a time. Not as exciting to me, but it must be done for that final race. We win, and move on. With the TT amulet complete, only one challenge remains. Wizpig shows up in true evil wizard style on a flashy new rocket that comes with the ability to sit idly in place during maximum combustion. This is for all the marbles, and if I could use one word to describe this course, it would simply be unforgivable. This is the Sin's fortress of the racing genre. Tight corners, randomly moving obstacles, narrow corridors, fucking laser beams, very few easily accessible balloons, and no zippers to help you out. Very challenging, but also extremely fun. After dropping attempt number 1 with Conquer, I know what I have to do.
Fate of the universe on the line, or the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth, you better hit it. I want
Diddy Kong. But yeah, in all seriousness, I barely used Diddy Kong this playthrough, and I would hate for him to have come all this way for nothing. I have a decent first lap, but then things fall apart on lap 3. But by my second attempt with Diddy, I discover a safe zone in the laser beam room, and things go really smoothly from there on out, except for the barrel roll I did into this pillar. But one more lap and Diddy brings it home, and we're treated to this amazing cutscene. Crunch is out here living his best life as the caboose of a conga line. Taj came out of this whole ordeal with a solid golden statue. He is now the God Emperor of Timbers Island. That's right. This was all just a ruse for more power. The party is underway. Wizpig is defeated. The Guardians are free. Drumstick is back to being a rooster. And all is well. Or is it? Some pigs just can't be kept down. You have to admire his resilience. And that is Diddy Kong Racing. I will admit, I was very excited to replay this and was a little worried that my nostalgia goggles were fooling me into thinking this would be an enjoyable experience to play through again. But I was thrilled to find the game to be just as fun as it was back in 1997. Just a few more things to add here. If you want to unlock TT, you have to get a high enough score on the time trials to get him to challenge you. You can actually do this from the time trial section. It makes it a lot faster and you don't have to like physically drive up to him and in adventure mode. You can just do it here. Beat his time on every course and congratulations, you now have the best racer in the game. He has max acceleration and max speed and about the same traction as Tip Top. He is an absolute beast. Also, beating Wizpig the second time unlocks Adventure 2, where the race courses are just mirrored and you get silver balloons instead. Nothing else changes. You can change up gameplay with some of these magic codes, which you can enter right here. I will leave a list of these in the description with an explanation of what they do. Also, I wanted to see if I could beat Wizpig with Crunch, and eventually I did. Also, he one-shot Bluey the Walrus. Crunch is a boss killer confirmed. Thank you for watching or listening to me ramble about Diddy Kong Racing. The next game I'm playing through will probably be Aiden Chronicles, a long-forgotten RPG with a very special place in my heart that is also on the Nintendo 64. So be on the lookout for that over the next couple of weeks. That's all I got. See ya.